Hey Dude,
The 90s Called.
with Christine Taylor and David Lascher.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Hey Dude, The 90s Called podcast. I'm David.
Hi, David. I'm Christine, your co-host in this fun adventure.
It's lovely to see you, Christine. And you have a beautiful background. Where are you?
I am in beautiful Vermont in a cabin, and I wanted to try just for your sake, for my own sake, just to have some woods in the background. And we're in a cool cabin in Vermont. This is my first time up here, so it's gorgeous. We're going to do some hiking and some outdoor stuff, and just a little mini road trip. That sounds
amazing. And you're going to go see Tim Daly's play and knock on his dressing room door.
I feel like we did not factor that in, and if Tim is listening, don't worry, Tim. We'll give you a heads up. But yeah, that was I know. He must have just planted that seed for us, Vermont. It was planted, and then because we're empty nesters for kind of just this 1 week while our son is doing a summer program and our daughter's still away. Ella comes back at the end of this week. So we have this like one little mini moment where we're fully empty nesting, and it's like, let's go do something.
Did you and Ben were just like, where should we go? And just like threw a dart at a map?
Like we didn't want to listen. We didn't want to get on an airplane. We wanted to just be able to drive. And we know we started in upstate New York, like up north of Kingston, and it's so beautiful up there. And Ben's shot up there a lot, so we have a few places we love to go up there. So that's where we started. And then we were like, let's just go to Vermont and like spend a night or two. So anyway, that's where we are. But we have two legendary guests.
I know. I'm so excited.
Like legendary guests in our waiting room. So why don't we invite in Mr. William Daniels and Miss Bonnie Bartlett, maybe the longest married couple in Hollywood today.
There's too much to talk about with them.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Two legends. Hollywood legends. What an honor to have you both with us. Thank you for joining us.
Well, we're happy to be here.
Where are you guys right now?
Studio City.
I'm in Studio City.
Are you really?
Yeah, in Fryman Canyon area.
Oh, I love that area. We rented a home there years and years ago. It was beautiful. Beautiful, the Fryman area. It's gorgeous.
I should have come. We should have done this in person.
Oh, it's so terrific to see you both.
We're very lucky to be here.
I mean, we have so much we want to talk to you about. I don't know how we're going to get to all of it. But Christine and I, we wanted to talk about the current environment in the entertainment industry because William was president of the Screen Actors Guild and and led us through a commercial strike. And I was just away, and I came home to, a shitstorm. What do you guys think about what's going on right now and how long it might last? And what are your thoughts on what's happening?
Well, first of all, we completely support the union. Bill supports his union, right, Bill? We completely support them. I don't know. I imagine it'll be 6 months.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Because that's what they do. That's what the AFPTV does. I mean, they have it all figured out. They have it all figured out how long to make the writers bleed.
I was going to say how long to make everyone wait before they eventually even really start the real negotiating. Is that fair to say?
They probably pretty much know at this point what they're going to give them.
That's sort of what the rumors are. Exactly.
They've already settled with the directors. See, the directors have a very high minimum. There's only one director. They have a very high minimum. It's a marvelous union, the directors.
But the writers and the actors together at the same time really shuts down not only the entertainment business, but the greater Los Angeles economy. It's really scary.
But it's the only way you get people to pay a fair wage. It is not a fair wage. The writers really it's bad.
Yeah.
And this is a moment in time where, we've been talking about this, but this is, what years and years ago we would look at as, quote, the future. It was like, right, it would be that, computers were telling us what to do and everybody's faces were scanned. I mean, that seemed so futuristic, so to speak. And now here we are. I mean, here we are. That future is now our present day, and none of our agreements, none of our contracts are set up to protect us from AI, from this artificial intelligence that is surpassing us all.
The writers and the actors don't get it now. We won't get it.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
Now, we just won't get it. We'll be schnooked.
And people in other industries.
The difference in this strike, one of the differences in this strike is Fran Drescher, very passionate, very emotional. All the internets are full of the strike. No, I don't remember an actor's strike that ever got this much attention. It's getting a lot of emotion, she gives these marvelous speeches. And I think maybe there's a little movement because the fact that they are getting to people.
Yeah.
Getting to people, and people seem very much on board. When with the commercial strike, it was like everybody in the town was against the union because of this strike. I don't think that's true today because it's writers and actors, and they're not against them. I think the public is for us.
Well, like you said, and maybe it is Fran and her passion, but I can't remember a time where, unless you were very on the inside of show business and you knew what was going on, that was when you knew there was a strike, of course, as part of the union. But it's newsworthy. It's front page. This is headline news.
So that may make a difference. Yeah.
Well, let's hope.
Streaming was very seductive because there were more shows and there were more people working. But they took away, now you have 8 episode seasons, no residuals, a one-time buyout on your work. And they mismanaged the business. They mismanaged their business. They wanted to show subscriber growth to Wall Street so they could keep their stock price up. And then when Netflix started to show subscriber decrease last year, Wall Street said, where's the money? Where's the profits? And they all said, we're losing money left and right.
Yeah, that's right.
And who's suffering? So
hard enough for the ordinary, regular actor to make a living. It is hard enough. It's a huge risk to your life to make a living. And thank God for animation. Thank God for, all of those other things that help.
But you're absolutely right. Yeah, it's hard enough for an artist to actually work in their craft if that is, if that's their passion.
Yeah.
Just to get the work, just to survive, just to pay bills, just to, just to get in the door. And corporate America, it's changed things so dramatically.
When we were young and in New York and then finally over here, you had a good chance.
Well, so let's
go
David,
back.
Yes, exactly. Let's segue back a little bit to when you two were young.
That's going back a long way.
That is not going back too far. No, it's not, Phil.
Your longevity in your relationship and your career is it's so impressive and so beautiful. We have to talk about it.
Well, we're together. I suppose it's a lack of imagination. But
it's actually 75 years.
Wait, you've been married 75 years?
We met when I was 18, 75 years ago.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
75 years ago. Yeah.
That I have to say that has to be a Hollywood record. You guys have to have won. Aside from some of the other awards won in that household, there must be some credit for this long-lasting relationship, particularly in Hollywood. Which Bonnie, we read an article that said moving to Hollywood is what saved your marriage. I mean, that's usually what tears it apart.
Right.
You do realize you're an anomaly here.
Work has always done that. No, because we were at a terrible time in our marriage, and then a terrible thing happened. My niece, who was like a daughter, she was killed, and I was just devastated. So instead of instead of maybe breaking up the marriage, Bill said, we're going to move to California. And I said, and I didn't want to do it. I wanted to stay in, I love New York. I wanted my boys to be in school in New York with their friends. He said, no, we're going to go to California. And I was too weak to say no. So we all came out here. He sent me to his agent, said, listen, she's a really, really, really good actress, dramatic actress. They sent me out. I started to get all kinds of jobs. And of course, that work always makes you feel so much better.
Oh, it feeds your soul. It feeds your soul.
Yeah.
It does. You need it. You need that. And I had been just raising the boys anyway. And that all that work put us out here for good. And then he enjoyed not working. He always wanted to work, but for him, it was such a relief not to have to go to the theater every night and do a big, hard show, right?
I'd like to ask the question, why do you two look so healthy and we look like we passed away a few years ago?
You guys are exuding
true.
wisdom and experience that we can only hope to acquire.
And you're both glowing, might I add.
Oh.
I see twinkles and sparkles in your eyes.
Well, we
it's
still
true.
have fun. We still have fun.
So Bill had the idea to move to LA. Obviously, I mean, you don't regret it, right? It seems like Bill had a good idea.
Any decision he's ever made, even when I was against it, has been good. Has worked out very well.
I love
It has
it.
always worked out, and he just does it, and he doesn't discuss it or anything. I mean, he just says, this is what we're going to do. California, the life here, our boys, he was able to spend time with the boys. That he didn't, Christmas, he got to be at home at Christmas instead of at the theater. He got to be home, thanks all those Saturday when the kids are off from school, he does 2 shows. It's
that theater schedule. And, we had a guest on last week, Tim Daly, who started in the theater and said he always thought he was just going to be a theater kid. Like you just lived there, you ate, slept and breathed it. It was in his DNA. And so he was the one who also said when he got on a film set or a TV set later on, it felt so cushy. I mean, it was so foreign, but it felt much cushier than what he was doing 8 shows a week on stage.
Bill did 2 years of 1776. How many musical numbers? 9 or 10 musical numbers. Every night he was on that stage, the whole bloody show.
Oh yeah, no, the musical theater performers, that's a different breed even. That's a glutton for punishment. It is tough.
He was the musical theater only happened because he could do it, but he actually had done more theater, non-musical theater. But then, but he had, as a kid, had been what were you doing when you were a kid, Bill?
Singing and dancing.
There you go. He was born for it.
Put into the business very, very early.
What was the first big break for either of you when you moved to LA? Was it The Graduate? I mean, before St. Elsewhere, but what was the first big role that changed everything?
Well, for me, it was probably Michael Landon's Little House on the Prairie.
Oh, Little House on the Prairie, yes.
A wonderful part on that. And that was before St. Elsewhere. But I had done all kinds of shows. Gunsmoke, how many times? The Waltons. I fit into so many different things. The
Waltons. Good night, John Boy.
I could fit into all kinds of different parts and love doing them all. But that part was so much fun.
Oh, what a special show. That just became everybody's, comfort zone. It was, as a little girl growing up, I of course read all the books, but then it was just comfort. It was like you felt like you knew the characters, and
right.
And what a launching point for so many wonderful careers on that show. But what a special show, and Michael Landon, of course, was so wonderful.
Wonderful producer, wonderful director, wonderful. Yeah, he was cut off a little early, I think.
Sadly.
Yes, for sure. Where did you guys film that show? Was that in LA?
Out in the valley. What do you call it out there? Simi Valley.
Simi Valley.
Oh my God. Simi Valley looked like, Prairie America. It's incredible.
It was wonderful. It was such a wonderful set to go to. I was very lucky to get that show and to do that show. Very lucky. Now, Bill, what did you do? See, he came out here. When we moved out here, Bill had already done The Graduate.
The Graduate, I have to ask, because like that movie, I haven't seen it in 20 or 30 years, and I still remember the visuals, Benjamin falling into the pool and the soundtrack by Paul Simon and Garfunkel. Did you know it was something special when you were on the set there?
I don't think any actor actually knows what they've got until they've done it and they hear an audience react. Then they know what they've got. Actors love to hear that audience laugh. But of course, when you don't have an audience, you gotta hope for the best.
Tell them the story about the pool with Mike Nichols.
Right. They can see you from underneath, from his point of view,
Dustin was in the pool, and Mike was talking to his cinematographer, and I walked over and stood next to him. And he sensed my being there, and he said, "What?" I said, "I'm just looking to see how you're going to film this." And he turned to his photographer, and he says, "Why is he attacking me?" Mike was a very funny man.
Right. And back then, theater people were working in film, and Mike Nichols was a theater guy, and
Dustin had just done what off Broadway.
I think Dustin Hoffman was living on Gene Hackman's kitchen floor before he got The Graduate. The stories are amazing.
Gene Hackman was let go from The Graduate.
What?
Mike let him go.
Playing Benjamin?
No, he was playing one of the fathers.
Mike got the cast together and said, "I'd like to apologize to you all. I just simply made a mistake in this casting, so I'm recasting it." But he got the cast together to explain that, because everybody's wondering, well, when am I next?
Right.
Who's next on the chopping block, right?
And he recast it, and he was right.
Yes, he was right.
Right. Well, and thankfully, Gene Hackman, he it turned out okay.
Okay, yeah.
I mean,
no one had to say
crushing blow, but
that is a tough gut punch.
He did just fine, and I'm sure that he was a superb actor, and he just was wrong for that part.
Yes, that happens. And Bill, how was it to go from 1776 and singing, dancing, belting your heart out, all of it, to, making that transition to film or to television?
Well, film is easier for sure. 8 a week is really something that takes it out of you. And I did 1776, for instance, for over 2 years. And it was exhausting.
Wow.
But that was the way it went.
But it was so much better for our family when we came out here.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Just the lifestyle. We have a note here, and I find this because I think this is a question that you see this often nowadays, that you were nominated for a Tony for 1776 in the supporting actor category. And you weren't playing a supporting character.
The producer of that show apologized to me because they had already decided before my name come up or my performance that they saw. They'd already decided who they were going to nominate in that category.
And they could only nominate 4.
And so they apologized to me, but I didn't really care, to tell you the truth. There's too many awards being given out, for God's sakes.
Agreed.
And it does feel like nowadays they do try to fit a person into a mold that they might not necessarily be in that category.
They care more about the winning. And the whole point is that Bill always said there shouldn't be an award for the best. There is no best. There should be awards for superb performances, and there would be many,
right.
Whoever gave up for superb performance, and then they should be honored, and that would be fine. But there's no best.
Exactly. Celebrate everybody, honor, and then you're right. That is a tough one.
Exactly.
The nomination is the win, right? Getting recognized. I mean, you can't control whether you're going to win over these great actors. But speaking of
that's true.
Awards, I don't want to skip over stuff, but the two of you won Emmy Awards on the same night for the same show, St. Elsewhere. I think you're the only married couple to ever do that. What was that night like?
That was a weird night. No, the weird night was a good night. That was a really good night. The first year that Bill won was a weird night because our limo broke down. And so he came home and got to watch John McEnroe play tennis. And
wait, stop. What? Wait, what happened? The car broke down. The limo broke down on the way to the ceremony?
Yeah, and he got out of the car, leaving me in my heels and all gorgeous and dressed. And he got out of the car and walked back on the freeway and got picked up by a couple of older ladies who recognized him. And and then they took him back home. And in the meantime, the limo guy managed to get another limo. And I got in the car and said, we're going to pick up Bill. So we went back. He was sitting there all undressed, watching McEnroe play tennis. I said, Billy, go get dressed. You're going. Oh, no, you're going. Oh, I was mad. And I said, you're going to go to this. We got there.
That was frightening. We got there and we're seated down here and excuse me. We sit down and I hear William Daniels.
Oh, my God.
And I think, oh, my God almighty. What the hell am I going to say? So I told them what happened. The car broke down. The other guy's car didn't break down. My car broke down. So I got a few laughs. That felt better.
Oh, my gosh.
That's all he cares about, if they laugh.
When you get the laugh, nothing feels better, right?
That's
better than the statue that's sitting somewhere.
But how surreal to show up late to the Emmys and then hear your name called. You go right up on stage.
Yeah, I just sat down.
Well, good thing your wife turned that car around and picked you up. You don't want to miss your moment.
That was fun. And then when we both won the next year, that was very exciting. And we both were very happy about that.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
And we were both there on time.
That's incredible. Just toasting your Emmys together, clinging
Seriously.
them. I bet there's some good photo ops from that evening.
A lot of pictures. Yeah, a lot of pictures.
Wow.
We are a show about the 90s, so we have to talk about Boy Meets World.
Boy Meets World.
This show, let me give you a quick little backstory that's going to blow your mind, because Ben Savage played my younger brother in 1990 on a show called A Family for Joe. And it was a sitcom with Robert Mitchum playing our grandfather, and Ben, myself, and Juliette Lewis and another young actress playing the kids who had lost their parents, and Robert Mitchum has to take custody of us to keep us together. And the kid was so talented, and it was such an anomaly type of show. Robert Mitchum in a sitcom.
Wow.
But I know, right? Who would believe it? I don't think Robert knew that it was a sitcom.
I don't think so. I loved him. I worked with him one day. He was fun.
Oh, the best.
So that's how you knew Ben.
So I knew Ben when he must have been 7 or 8 years old, and I was friendly with Fred and the parents and the whole family. But that show has such a devoted audience. Like, what do you think? What was it about that show that people even today? I mean, their podcast is enormous, and people loved it.
Right, and I think they're running out. They're on tour doing shows all the time.
Right.
The name of the character was Mr. Feeny. And I thought, no, I don't want to do that. That's making fun of a teacher, and they're underpaid. And so I went to the director, producer, and I tried to get out of it. And he said, "Listen, Bill, I have great respect for teachers, and we're not going to make fun of Mr. Feeny. We're going to make him have some stature," or whatever the word was. And so when he reassured me of that, I said, okay, I'll do it. But I really tried to quit. Did I know it was going to be a hit?
7 years?
Of course.
Right.
I didn't know.
But you're glad you did not quit, though.
Oh, I'm certainly glad I didn't quit.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much unemployment you get, and then it stops, you know. You got to go to work.
7 years is a gift. And Michael Jacobs was the head of that show?
Yes, the head of the show, the creative behind it all. It was his show. And
he had to fight with the network to keep Bill serious, you know, because they wanted it all to be funny with the kids. And Michael had to push hard to keep the character. I mean, there was a lot of funny. Bill can do both. He can do everything. So he can be very funny, and he's very witty personally, and but also has a lot of gravitas. And so everybody really, all those kids respected him. They thought he was English.
A proper British gentleman.
I would stay in the dressing room before we shot the scene, because the kids were having fun. They weren't taking it seriously. And I was a very serious actor.
Right.
So I didn't want to be around them while they were fooling around. And I'd wait until we were going to do a take, and then I'd come out and I'd do the take and then back into the dressing room. But those kids were great. They really were.
I'm sure they all learned so much from Bill, who, you know, every set needs somebody experienced to set the bar.
Well, I made it a rule for me that I never tried to tell them what to do. They had to do their own thing. And that's what we did.
Because I said, Bill, don't you help them? Don't you try to help them?
Never.
You know how Bill helped them, though? By them watching how he works.
That's right.
And taking the work seriously. You just live, your example is by how you approach it.
Yeah.
Well, he had been a child actor, so he kind of knew. Not a child actor, a child actor. Life with Father in New York City. That play ran for 10 years, I think.
How old were you, Bill, when you did that show?
Life with Father. Were you 14 when you went into it? But he had been a song and dance guy.
Right. And was it the brothers?
The four brothers. Yeah.
The four brothers.
He started out as the second, then moved up to the older one, and then they all got drafted. See, it was the war,
right?
And so
the oldest one would hit 18 and they'd be drafted. And I was 17 in the next role. When I went into 18, I was drafted and sent to Italy.
So you got put in a radio studio on an Italian radio station?
Yeah.
And what did you do? Were you?
They played records.
Yes, they sent over these big records of Jack Benny.
So the purpose was to entertain the troops.
Yes.
Yeah.
They would play things for guys back home. In other words, I would come in and want a certain record for a girlfriend back home or a wife or something.
Right.
They did all of that.
So Italy happened, and then you end up at Northwestern. So you leave, when you end up leaving, and you enrolled in Northwestern right away, and that's where you two met?
I was in the classroom. This is a funny story. I was in the classroom with a bunch of other people. We were auditioning for a play called Bury the Dead. Not a laugh in it.
Doesn't sound fun.
I thought I heard this one, and I was a cocky kid. Let's face it. I've been on Broadway, and I hear these people read. Oh my God, that's awful. Finally, I hear somebody in the back, and I recognized an actor's voice. I turned around and I looked, and there she was in the back. And she sounded like an actor more than any of the other kids who were auditioning for that play. So I waited at the door when we were finished. And when she came by, I said, "Hi, how about going for a cup of coffee?" She said, "You're too short."
I love it.
I said, "Come on, have a cup of coffee." She said, "Okay." Turned out she'd been following me around the campus that I didn't even know because she had heard I was a Broadway actor. You women are very devious.
Oh, that's so good, Bonnie. Oh, that's so good. I love it. You had been trailing him and then just kind of...
And you insult his height to keep the
well, you got to play a little hard to get, right? You had to play a little hard to get.
What it really was that I was not one of those popular pretty girls at all. And I was always a smart ass, smart. I was smart. Scared the boys away. And so what I really meant was that I was really too big for him because I was used to these great big tall Norwegian Swedish boys from Illinois, Moline and John Deere Factory. And I really didn't mean it that he was too short. It was like I was really too tall for him. He should have a short. I had seen him with this little Italian girl going places, and I thought I was not a romantic person for him. You know what I mean? But we just immediately, and he didn't seem to mind. So that I was not a pretty little thing. So there we are.
And it was born out of respect, right? He recognized your talents.
I would say that
you as well.
Two actors.
That's right.
Respecting each other. And that's probably what's kept us together all these years.
Yeah. So Christine and I are both in long-term marriages, relatively, not compared to you guys, but, Bonnie wrote a memoir and you speak openly about your marriage, but do you have any little tidbits or secrets about how to keep it going?
I don't know. We just like to be together. We enjoy each other. We talk or don't talk. We can spend days not talking and then we can and we love to work together. And we don't disagree about anything. Politically, we're on the same boat. With the children, the two boys, we've always been same boat all the way. I don't know. It's just been personalities learning to live with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? If anybody wants to read all about us, I've got 2 books here.
Look, 2 books.
Oh, wow. What are they called?
It's called There I Go Again.
Okay.
There I Go Again is William's memoir.
And then this is mine that just came out this year, which is called Middle of the Rainbow.
They look like they go beautifully. They as a companion piece, yes, just like the two of you,
right?
And Bonnie, I just love that you said earlier, way back at the beginning of this interview, which we could keep you for hours, and we won't. We promise you, we will let you go. But you did say that the decision to move to Hollywood was Bill's idea, and you didn't want to go, and you didn't have the bandwidth or the energy to fight it. And don't you feel like as a couple too, sometimes you need the other person to be that for you. You need sometimes for your partner to know you a little better than you even know yourself in that moment, even if you are like,
that's very well said.
Right?
That's very well said. And that works both ways.
Exactly.
Yes, definitely. Yep. In my most horrible times, Bill was always there to take over, and he would take over and handle the situation. It's and I'm that way for him when he's had some really bad times in the theater or other, and I'm there for him to help. I mean, we have always helped each other rather than trying to destroy each other. Do you know?
That's yes.
Yeah, you're a team. You're a team in life. I think people that look at it that way have longevity.
Right.
Well, you guys, I mean, thank you so much for joining us. This has been amazing and inspirational for me.
So this was just wonderful. Like, I think I see Bill smiling and Bonnie, you're smiling. Like, I think I probably was like grinning ear to ear this entire time. It was
me too. Yeah.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys have a great rest of the summer. We can't read I'm going to read both of those books. I love to see the shared experience from two perspectives, but
good.
Thank you for everything you shared with us today.
Oh, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
I mean, seriously, I can't stop smiling. I almost want to cry.
I know. And I will say, and I want to say it just because they remind me so much of Anne and Jerry. There's so much of that same era, similar stories. Jerry went over to Italy and then he got the GI Bill and went to Syracuse and studied theater at Syracuse University. And just that companionship, that long-term marriage, both entertainers, both coming up in this business, Anne and Jerry, the difference is they never moved. They always stayed in New York, and that they worked in Hollywood and went to LA to work sometimes, but it's such a golden era. It's such the time that they grew up in the theater it was just a golden era of our industry, but also just, as a couple and what they survived and
enduring challenges that our generation just can't understand. Imagine doing a Broadway show and the guys who turn 18, they leave to go to World War II. And he knows he's 17 and he's going to be next. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. What a beautiful couple. And I really do. I'm going to get the books. I'm going on Amazon. I'm ordering. Amazon Prime.
They're the cutest couple I think I've ever spoken to in my life. I mean, they still love each other and support each other and enjoy each other. That's what she said, right?
And I think the other thing, too, that they didn't say, but you could see it was unspoken, but just there's the sense of humor. Like, that was so important to them both to laugh. We always say it in a relationship and, being able to have a sense of humor about it. And wow.
I know. I feel so much better after that interview. I just, life affirming type of stuff. But yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed these two iconic actors and, Christine, enjoy Vermont.
Yes.
I mean, go hike right now.
Yes. Going on a hike. And we'll see everybody back next week.
Another great guest next week. Thank you so much for listening and have a great week. And Christine, have a great hike.
Yes. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Make sure to subscribe and give us 5 stars.
And please follow us on Instagram at HeyDudeThe90s Called. See you next time.